Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all safe and well. Now on today's episode we're going to be doing Italian soundtracks. It's one of my favorite subgenres out of my collection, so I'm really excited to present this to you. I have no idea if this is going to be successful. I'm taking a chance on this. There's a lovely subscriber and I'll just refer to him as GC. He sent me a lovely message as part of the last video, and towards the tail end of the last episode I said I was thinking about doing a few more 10 album kind of genre spreads for you, and I was thinking about doing jazz fusion, and he basically said to me, how about trying some left field choices, try something else. Yeah, and it's kind of like it did set my mind racing, but at the same time I was super like fearful, in the sense of, okay, there's elements within my collection which I don't really share with anybody else. This is like my really inner sanctum taste in music. So yeah, I've kind of decided to put this out there, see what you guys think. I did say to GC, if this particular episode falls on its face, I'm going to be blaming him, and he said he's cool with it. But of course the flip side of that is, if it turns out super successful, then it's all my idea. So there you go. So yeah, slightly nervous with not so much talking to you guys, because yeah, that's just an absolute pleasure. It's more a case of, are you gonna share some of my ideas here? Yeah, I'm not entirely confident, but yeah, I'm gonna do it anyway, and let's just see what happens anyway. So before we get into, let me just have a sip of my coffee, by the way. That's the nerves kicking in there, sorry. So once again, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all safe and well. We're going to be doing some housekeeping at this moment in time, just so I can go over some of my thoughts in terms of the response to the previous video, a couple of videos and that sort of thing. So first of all, as I said in the last episode, I'd just got to and crossed the 500 subscriber mark, and I want to thank you once again for all those who've taken the time to subscribe to the channel. Really does mean a lot to me. Yeah, I want to welcome the new viewers as well. I had some really heartwarming comments in the comment section relating to the last video. I was shown so much love and it was really overwhelming. Yeah, any of us who are doing, well, not just you the viewer taking time, but anybody who's producing content on YouTube has felt the same way that I have, well, I do at this moment, in terms of slightly overwhelming to, you know, when you get positive feedback. Of course you don't want negative one, but when you get positive one, it's, well, for me anyway, I find it slightly hard to cope with. It's like, yeah, anyway, I just need to get over myself. So I want to thank all the existing subscribers as well as the new ones. Thank you so much for joining me on my journey in music. It really is an absolute blessing to have you guys along. I am humbled by it, and hopefully our relationship will continue down the road and become bigger and better. And yeah, it's just going to be a happy experience for us all. So wanted to say that. Great interaction in the last video. Yeah, I kind of mentioned that already. The comments, not only in terms of number of comments, but the content of those comments was really heartwarming. There was a lot of positivity. There was a few puns in there. There was a couple of crazy puns which I kind of missed the first time round when I was responding to them, and then when that person's got back to me, I kind of go, oh yeah, there's a crazy pun about Werther's Originals in there. The person who did it knows who they are, and I just got to salute them. That was absolutely fantastic. It was brilliant. It just took me, it just took me a while to kind of, well, it's literally when they said to me, "This is what I was doing," and then I went, "Oh yeah, why didn't I pick that up earlier?" Anyway, so yeah, one of the things about the last video was, and again, I got to thank each and every one of you who took the time and trouble to watch the video. It was actually my fastest growing video on my channel. It doesn't have the highest total number, but in terms of however many days it was out on the platform, the view ratio and how fast these views came in is literally unprecedented on my channel. So again, I just want to thank each and every one of you who took the time and trouble to watch the video. It really does mean a lot to me. It keeps my enthusiasm going, and yeah, kind of, you do think you're the crazy guy in the wilderness, and it's this your particular taste, and yeah, it's just really nice to get positive feedback. So thank you once more. Yes, the other thing, limitations of my memory card. So what I might do, if I find myself ranting beyond the 45-minute mark, what I'm probably going to do is, and I've tried to do it once before, I'm going to try and splice the two sections together, and it's going to be done in the most horrific way. So those who are like really adept at editing are just going to laugh themselves silly, because it will be truly clunky. It could be a case of it just cuts suddenly, and then next time you see me, I'm wearing either different glasses, different top, or something else, and I'll carry on the rest of it and I'll splice it together. It won't be done with a smooth transition. I can almost guarantee it. It's not going to be like a George Lucas, like the white swipe across the screen. That's not going to happen. It's going to be truly clunky. You're just going to have to live with it. Yeah, I think that you guys have come to expect a certain level of amateur behavior from me, and I'm not going to let you down in that regard. So there you go. Is there anything else? Yes, briefly, before we start the video, the reason behind the Italian soundtracks is, for over 2 decades now, I've been buying compilation of like library music. So for those who don't know library music, basically small record label imprints or small labels who do music for commercials and films and TV, that sort of thing. This would be the music which is embedded in the program, and they do release these albums every now and again, and they cover a wide spectrum of genres. I am interested in these type of albums. I find that they have quirky and unique compositions on them, which not only excite my imagination, but I think it helps me appreciate other genres, certainly in terms of jazz, lounge, jazz related genres. That type of music, that type of sound certainly does help my understanding of how to assess the greater world of jazz. So I'm sure it's the same case with each and every one of you. When you go through your collection, it's it'd be strange that all your music's of the same genre, and if it is, that's entirely up to you. But what I'm saying is, in terms of when you do listen to other genres, it does help you to assess other works in your collection. So certainly the Italian soundtracks I'm going to present to you today, they tick so many boxes for me. I just find them super enjoyable, super cool. And let me just get this out of the way. The albums themselves, the compositions, they're cool. I'm not saying I'm cool, or by me owning them that I'm somehow cool. No, it doesn't translate. The body of works that I'm going to present to you are cool in and of themselves. I'm not going to bask in their reflective glory. They're they're just on a totally different level to what I'm thinking doing or anything like that. So it's just for me the wonderful slice of my collection. Hopefully you're going to enjoy it. Yes, one the kind of what I want you to. Yeah, I'm stumbling over my words, but if you, from the experience of the video I'm going to present to you, if 2 or 3 of these albums happen to be of interest to you, then I feel my work is done. I've presented something to you perhaps that you didn't know existed before. So that's all I'm really looking for. Now, if you happen to harangue me in the comment section saying, no, go back to the normal, the jazz thing, we don't want to see any more of this, I would totally understand. But I think with GC and myself, even if we're the only 2 who are really going to appreciate it, and of course I hope more than 2 of us are going to like this video, yeah, it's just going to give me more confidence to show you other subgenres within my collection. And yeah, anyway, enough with that. Let's just get on with the actual episode today, and I'm going to present to you 10 Italian soundtracks which just blow my mind. Super glad to have in my collection. Oh yeah, I would say one kind of, yeah, as a conclusion to my preface, or to come to the ending statement of my preface in regards to this episode is, would I, as unlike the other kind of jazz related episodes that I do, I'd say I heartily recommend this. You should get it. It's, if you appreciate jazz, this is something that you should consider. I'm not going to go so far as that with these particular albums. The reason is I know they are super niche. They're not cheap, most of them. And for me at least, I have bought quite a few of them just for one track. That track blows my mind. I know that nobody else has got it. It's not on any other compilation or anything else. It just exists here and nowhere else. That's why I've got it. That's why I pulled the trigger in terms of, yeah, it's expensive, but where else are you going to get it? You're not going to get it anywhere. So I'm not going to give it this particular episode, all the albums contained within it, that kind of sacrosanct, like seal of approval that you really should have this. I'm just saying, have a listen to these, see if they interest you, see if you want to go down the rabbit hole of Italian soundtracks. Quite like Japanese jazz, it is truly a rabbit hole of wonderful music, but it is expensive. It's an expensive sideline, so bear that in mind, or it's just really hard to get it. So bear that in mind when you're considering purchasing any of these albums. But like I said, if 2 or 3, when you actually hear them for yourself, float your boat, then I feel my work is done. So let's start off with the first of the 10. These are in no particular order, and I'll try and explain to you why I like this particular album. So first, what I've decided to do as well, I'm not with some of my other videos, I've tried to pronounce foreign names. So I'm an English speaker, so I will give it an attempt every now and again to actually say in its native tongue the title of the album. I don't think I'm going to try in this case. I've got a list of the English translations. It is a clunky translation, but it's just going to help you and I to stay on the same page. But certainly when I refer to the links down below for each album, if I can find these tracks by link so you can hear it for yourself, I will refer to it by the Italian name. If there's space, I'll try and put the brackets, the English name of it, but you'll see the album covers for yourself and you can work it out. So hope you enjoy the episode. Let's get on with it. So the first one out of the gate, the English title would be Oriental Love Code. There you go. What an album cover that is. That's a beautiful piece. Yeah, I really do like that. And this is a film score, I believe from 1974. and the band who put this music together is the Blue Marvin Orchestra. Just check that out. It's just absolutely sublime. I'll show you the reverse cover for it as well. This particular imprint came out on this Schema label, but like I said, the original's in 1974. I absolutely love this album. It's got so many mad compositions on here. Oh yeah, you know what? Let's just bring things to a halt. So there's some unique. Sorry about this. There are some unique properties in regards to soundtrack albums which don't really feature on others, and I made a few notes of it. Sorry, I forgot about this. This is how amateurish I am. Just get myself all jumbled up, get myself overexcited, but let's get through it. So with soundtracks, you can get anything from, let's say, 8 tracks to 30 tracks on there. That's one of the features. The tracks themselves could last from anything from 30 seconds to 3 minutes, 34 minutes per track. Okay, so with these soundtracks, you either get tracks on the album which are just individual composition and there is no link or anything between one track and another. So yeah, you would say to yourself, well, what's so unusual about that? That doesn't make it, you know, what's the point in, that's not a feature. The reason why for distinguishing that is there are a lot of soundtracks, and some of the ones I will be showing you, they actually have the same track, let's say 8 different versions of the same track, but the difference between each track is either tempo changes or instrumentation changes. So from one track to the other, you could have on one track a saxophone lead, on the following track it's the same composition but lead guitar, or on the next one it could be a, I don't know, a bagpipe version. So there is some of that going on as well. I will try and highlight those albums if they do it, of the ones that I'm showing you, but those are some of the unique features of soundtrack albums, and particularly the subsection which is Italian soundtrack albums. So got that out of the way. Let's carry on with the first album, and as I said, this particular one is called Oriental Love Code from 1974. The musicians themselves go under the name of Blue Marvin Orchestra. I absolutely love this one. It's just a joy to behold. It puts a smile on my face. With this particular one, it's each track is an individual track. I think there's maybe one recurring kind of composition in here, but I think that's it. It's just superb. It's mad. It's insane how good this album is. Now, I'm not going to say it's not off the chart expensive. It's not that. It's probably a case of you finding it, whether it's the original or a repressing of it. You might have some difficulties finding it, but I will leave links down below. I do want you to hear this for yourself. It's an absolute treat. And most of these albums here which I've chosen, I bought them for a reason, that they've got that kind of jazz element, or the kind of lounge, or the easy listening sound to them. It just floats my boat. It really does. It just gets me excited. So yeah, absolutely astonishing piece of work. You've got track titles like Nude Love, Kama Sutra, and God is Love. But I will leave down below in the description area, I will leave links to individual tracks. Hear it for yourself, see what you think. It's just absolutely gorgeous, this one. So that's the first one. The second one today, I bought this one relatively recently, and you will see with a lot of these album covers that the covers themselves are just chef's kiss. They're just beautiful covers. Yes, this one is, let's see if I can see it quickly when this was released. I got no idea at this moment in time, but the composer is Stelvio Cipriani, And the translation of the album title is Mark the Policeman. I don't think Mark as in Mark Christian first name. I think Mark as in Target the Policeman. I think that is. This guy looks super cool. It's kind of got this Andy, not, would I say that's Andy Warhol style? But it's a recurring image just done in different colors. Superb. The reason for getting this one, and as soon as I heard it, I just had to pull the trigger. I had to have it, is it's got a couple of tracks on there which are companion pieces, and I think I've got this right because I haven't even been bothered to pull out that album to double check. But Marvin Gaye's Trouble Man, there's a couple of tracks on there which have a particular bass line to it. This album has a couple of tracks which follow that same bass, the imprint of bass line. It is absolutely superb. And one day I'm going to play these albums back to back and just be laughing my head off. I'd just be like chuckling to myself, and everybody else will think that I'm crazy. And it's like, no, actually, I'm just appreciating that two people independently of each other, both doing soundtracks. One might have influenced the other, but this is got, it's just got a beautiful tone to it. This, I'll show you the reverse side as well. There you go. Yeah, I think that's Lee Cobb. I think the actor Lee Cobb. I think that's who it is. But yeah, this dude, he looks like kind of like, although I'm too old to be watching this, and this is just like my niece's taste and that. I'm trying. It's not super. No, Vampire Diaries. He looks like one of the dudes from. I can't try to remember what his name is. It's in Vampire Diaries. Any of you who got teenage kids will basically get it. I'm trying to remember the guy's name. Damon. That's it. Damon. Yeah, kind of looks like him. It's a good-looking dude. Never seen the film itself. It probably would disappoint me. This album, it's just got absolute gem tracks on it, which just blow me away with their originality, their energy, their just absolutely underlying coolness. So this is the second one. I think this is a 1974 release as well, if I remember right. It's either 72 or 74. But yeah, just absolutely superb. If you see it out in the wild, I will get it. If you're like a kind of DJ, you like your sampling, this one's gonna like touch you in places, inappropriate places, and you'll probably enjoy it. So that's the second one today. And it's Stilvio Cipriani, and the album's entitled, the English version of it is Mark the Policeman. So the third one today is like quite easy in the sense of it's an English titled film, so it's not a problem. The soundtrack and its composition was done by a gentleman called Piero Piccioni, I believe, and sorry for the rubbish Italian accent. But this is based on Alistair MacLean's novel or screenplay, and it's Puppet on a Chain. Yeah, I love that cover. Look at it. And literally, you got a puppet on a chain, just in case you weren't sure. So, haven't seen the movie. This particular one, it does exactly what it says on the tin. It is a espionage themed thriller. And the soundtrack represents that. So what I think what they were going for was a kind of, I'm not so sure if it's Bond kind of, that kind of thing. I would more go for maybe a Harry Palmer, you know, that kind of Michael Caine, Icarus file type thing. But instead of using fast cars, they're using fast boats on canal. That was one of the unique selling points of this one. The score itself, there's quite a few number of tunes on this particular one. Let me see if I can actually tell you when this was actually released. Originally, 1970, I believe. I stand to be corrected, but around 1970. So absolutely gorgeous score. It's got that kind of the feel of foreboding and suspense, and there is a bit of kind of like it's kind of what you'd get in a kind of Bond theme, or about a Bond soundtrack. It's got all the hallmarks of that sort of thing, but yet without having the obvious Bond overtones to it. It's something in and of itself. It's absolute gem. I picked this one up for reasonable money, and in my mind, when I heard it for the first time and purchased it, I was kind of chuckling to myself, thinking, oh, I got one up on the retailer here. They didn't know what they got. They probably did, but I suspect that I was one of 3 or 4 people who possibly could have been interested in this soundtrack. But I think it's absolutely superb. There's some lovely compositions on here. But even thinking about it just makes me laugh. It's just how good it is. So if you see this out in the wild and you see it for reasonable money, I just say, just pull the trigger. You're not going to be disappointed. And it's a really good place to start what could be it's a section within your collection which is all to do with soundtracks, whether it's espionage, whether it's to do with Italian. You make up your own mind, or you simply just like it because it sounds excellent. Not the whole thing, of course, but there's parts on here which are really exciting to listen to. So that's the third one. And as I said, these particular albums, I can't recommend them in the sense of the whole album is of a standard where there's no doubts. There's, your money is well spent. For me, at least with these albums, and I have to reiterate it, I could just buy it for a single track, and that track blows me away to such a point that I have to have it. So I can't do I can't do like full-on recommendations. You have to choose for yourself. A, if you like it. B, if you think it's worth the money. I certainly did anyway. So the fourth one today, and we're getting to the racy part of the selection. So this particular one, the English translation is The Girl Out of the Way. Let me see if I can. 1975 originally released. This is like a repress with a slightly different cover, but there you go. Yeah, and the film itself is exactly what you think it would be about. So we're all adults here, so we're just going to leave it at that. But there is some apps. Sorry, I've forgotten to even tell you who the actual the composer is. It is Piero Umiliani. Piero Umiliani. Finally got there. So I think I've got 2 or 3 of his albums or bodies of work, and he's just super consistent. Oh yeah, there's a lot of Pieros about. I had to look down at who was the previous one again. Sensational. Let me show you the reverse, because I don't think the bots will really be able to decipher that. There you go. Gatefold cover. Absolute superb body of work. If you like that kind of, or you're familiar with, certainly when I was growing up, there was a certain kind of adult interest soundtrack sound, which were usually like wah-wah guitars and certain bass lines. This is far more sophisticated. Nonetheless, you can definitely tell the tune itself is probably from a slightly saucy movie. Let's put it that way. But nonetheless, it's super enjoyable. There is some absolute genius pieces on here, and I'm not entirely sure, but to my ear at least, there is a couple of vocal tracks by, let me see if I've got her name, Eda Dioso. She's a particular lady who I've been trying to find her work on vinyl, where she's a fantastic vocalist, one of my favorite vocalists of all time, hands down. But she's got a lot of uncredited work, but once you hear her vocals, and it's not unique what she's doing, but the way she's doing it is unique. So let's say, for example, Beyonce, Celine Dion and Mariah Carey can all do that warbling. They can do those notes, and they can do that warbling thing. but they all sound different. Eddie D'Orso does a more kind of 60s 70s version of that type of thing, where it's not the words themselves which she's enunciating in her vocals. It's just the way she's doing it, which is truly unique and just a mind blowing. I mean, if you've got a good stereo to play it on, it sounds absolutely wonderful. There are some absolute gems on this album. This is one of the albums that I do see quite often. I think you'd be able to get your hands on this one relatively easy. An original one, yeah, you could be paying silly money for it, but represses such as this one, you should be able to get it. Although this repress is from about, I don't know, 15, 18 years ago, something like that. So yeah, anyway, the original cover looks even better. It's an absolutely astonishing looking woman. No kind of seediness. She's just a headshot, beautiful. But the sound of this album, there's 5 or 6 tracks on here which are absolutely gorgeous, and if I can find them, I will link them down below so you can hear it for yourself. You're in for an absolute treat, in my opinion anyway. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4 down. The 5th one, again, it's in the realm of sauciness, so I might have to put my hand somewhere over the cover of this just in case it sets off the YouTube bots for nudity. And it is called The Body. So yeah, I'll try and just do that. That's not me flicking you guys the finger. I just want to show you the album cover without getting myself into trouble. So yeah, that's the reverse side of it. So let's have a look. I really should have looked before to see when these were actually originally released. I might be able to check that out in a second. So The Body, and let's see, can I see, 1972 apparently this was released, I believe. Have I got that right? 72 or 73. And again, this is a Piero Umiliani, just like the previous one. That's who's the composer. Yeah, super artwork. It really is. Oh gosh, let me just cover that up again. Yeah, so this one, I must confess, I'd heard this decades ago, these tracks, and I think I still own them on compilations, but on the CD. And I always promised myself, if I ever saw this album in the wild, I was going to buy it, even if it was for one track that lasted 30 seconds. I was going to buy it. I don't care. I'm going to have it. I have to have it. Saw this copy. You can see it's a reprint, and just pulled the trigger immediately. Again, Eda D'Orso may appear on this. She's going to be uncredited, as she always is. This is just, as I said, with these albums, it's not a case of the whole album's good. No, I can't. I genuinely can't say that. A lot of it is cheesy, just ghastly. And I'm not talking about this album. I'm talking about all the albums I'm going to be showing you today. There's 1 or 2 tracks within each. Well, I would say the majority of the album will probably be ghastly to your ears, but there's going to be some diamonds in the rough. You're going to find 2 or 3 really outstanding tracks, and on this one it's no exception. I bought this for 2 tracks, I'm going to be honest with you, but for me they were fully worth it. So is there anything that I need to tell you about beyond that, apart from it just those 2 tracks? I had to have it. Yeah, I'm going to leave links down below so you can hear it for yourself. Yeah, I'm just super glad to have this one. I just keep removing my finger, but yeah, it's just a slice of the time, that sort of music, and it's, yeah, adult interest kind of sound, but not in that cheesy, you know how that sound is. This is not that. This is far more sophisticated. So yeah, absolutely astonishing piece of work. When it gets it right, it certainly does. So that's the 5th one, and geez, you see my hands? I've got butcher's hands and it still couldn't do the job properly. Right, The next album, let's see what the English translation is. It is Confessions of a Police Commissioner to the Public Prosecutor. I very much adore this album, and I would say probably about 50% of it is really good, and the other parts are either repetition, which are inferior, or I just didn't like it. But here we go. So some of you who have been around the channel before have seen me go on about this album at least once before. So let's just have a look. Is that? I'm just trying to see if it tells me the name of. Yeah, it is Martin Balsam. This guy, yeah. Let's see what the 1971 release. It's by Riz Ortolani. A really big composer, Italian film score composer. I forgot this guy's name. I think that's Franco Nero. Really good looking chap, really good actor of that era from Italian cinema. I don't think he ever translated to the English speaking world, but yeah, his image, I know he made loads of films, and just a really good looking, you know one of those guys who look absolutely top notch in a suit. He's just one of those dudes who just look cool all the time. He's able to rock one of those thicker moustaches, and he just holds it down lovely. I aspire to be as debonair as this, just just for 2 days in my life. That I'll take that. I can't match up to him, obviously. On this particular album, I just find it absolutely, there's 3 or 4 scores on here which are absolutely beautiful. It's kind of that Riviera in a cabriolet type music, but with this one it does have the kind of espionage, criminality undertones to quite a few of the compositions. So it's kind of like a mixed bag, but where again, I'd say with all of these, when it gets it right, it absolutely knocks it out of the ballpark. For me, I can listen to those tracks over and over again to the point where I almost bring myself to tears and how good they are. And this is just one of those kind of albums. Happened to find it on some website or another, and again, it was priced, relatively speaking, it was pricey for what it is, but it depends on what your taste is and what your wallet can bear. I knew I had to have it, so hence why you see it in front of me. I don't really talk about this album to other people who who know some of my collection. I kind of just keep it to myself, kind of thing. But for those who have already got it in their collections, they know how good this is. For those of you who will be hearing this for the first time, I hope that you're going to enjoy it. I hope that you're going to see what it is and just value it in and of itself, because I think there's parts of this album which are absolute genius. So that's all I can do, is put it in front of you. You guys will make up your mind whether or not you think it's worthy of your collection. But as you can see, I adore every album I've shown you before, like here today. I absolutely adore them, for different reasons, but I absolutely adore them. So let's see, I think that's 6 down with 4 to go. Hopefully the memory card will last, and if it doesn't, we're going to do that clunky editing where I'm just going to splice 2 videos together, and that's it. You can expect a level of amateurishness from me. You must expect that. So let's just move on. The next one is Ennio Morricone. I think it's one of 2 in this 10 film soundtrack kind of exhibition for you. So this particular one, the translation is "Think About a Night at Dinner," or yeah, but it's metti una sera a cena. There you go. And for those who have been around the channel for a while, not only do you know that I adore this album, and I've mentioned it before, this is one of my kind of holy grails. It's oh, I mean, most of the albums down here, it's like I may have heard a track of them on other compilations decades before and have been pursuing them. They've been in you know, they've been in the inner cogs of my head, and it was just a case of finding them. This is one of them where there's some tracks on here again, just sublime. It's the it's the I think the film itself. I'm trying to remember. I think it's definitely an early 70s one, but I think the theme is along the lines of perhaps sharing your intimate partner with another person. You guys can make your own value in terms of that. The film score itself is absolutely, there are some gems on here. I mean, when I actually got my hands on this, and this particular print is a few years old, this one, I can't even see when the original date of the original pressing is. I assume early 70s anyway. You'll be able to look it up for yourself. It genuinely, when I actually had it in my hands physically, knowing that I had these tracks for, you know, as long as I have a record collection, I will have these tracks. It nearly brought a tear to my eye. It just got me. It was just like, I've always wanted that tune. I wanted it in my collection. And, you know, like I said, it's like, this is part of my collection that nobody really gets to hear. It's only me who's going to be listening to it or truly does get the significance of it. But yeah, when I had it, I just felt the colors looked more vivid. The air tasted sweeter. All those kind of nonsense. I felt that when I actually got this in my hand and I knew it was mine. It was just one of those kind of experiences. I'm going to leave the link down below so you can hear at least a couple of the tracks, one or two of the tracks from it. And I just think this is one of those albums what just, for its genre, it just knocks it out of the park. It's got the level of sophistication, just the genius behind it. How did you come up with that sound? Anyway, it just, as you can see, I lose my mind when I think of like how good this album is. Not in its entirety, because it's got some absolute trash on it as well. But there's 4 or 5 tunes on here which are not only passable but absolute genius level. So you'll be able to hear it for yourself. If you agree or disagree, you're going to let me know in the comments section. All 3 of us who will be watching this video probably. So there you go. So we have 3 to go. So the next one is by a gentleman called Alessandroni. Yeah, I like that kind of, what do they call it? Alliteration, where you have the same letter for both names, like Peter Parker or Reed Richards, that kind of thing. They do understand Lee in comics. They used to do that a lot of times. Yeah, I think it's alliteration they call it. So this is, I'm trying to see when it originally came out without taking up too much time. Can't see it. So anyway, this is a repress anyway. So it's Alessandroni, and the album's entitled The Professor of Natural Sciences. There you go. What a lovely cover. Gorgeous looking woman there, absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, so don't get me wrong, I saw the cover first and went, okay, not only a superb record cover, but lovely title for a film as well. I bet it's on the saucy side, and yeah, it didn't let me down. It is. I'll show you the reverse side as well, and there you go. So this particular album, I bought this one relatively recently, within the last year or two. So I can see my memory card's running out. So I will carry on chatting, but I might stop suddenly to give it a pause so I can splice in the next one. So yeah, don't be surprised if you get a hard stop. Anyway, so with this one, this particular album follows that kind of system of having the same track right throughout, but they changed the input in the instrumentation, what instruments are in the foreground and background. I do, excuse me, and the tempo of individual tracks. So it's not for everyone, but for me, when I heard it, this album, there's some of the tracks go on a journey which absolutely I just find astonishing. It just absolutely cracks me up how good it is. How did you come up with that? That is absolute genius level. It had to go in my collection. I'm going to try and leave a link down below. I think it's hard. I think there's like a 9-minute segment at least I've seen on YouTube with like the really heart of this particular album. There's like 3 tracks joined together, and it's just, oh my god, it just, when I heard it, it's just like, I have to have that. I've just got to, and this hasn't let me down. It's astonishing how good this is and how talented the composer is. I just think for that era, they just beautiful sounds were coming out of the music industry, and it just blows me away on how good the standard was. So yeah, that's the Professor of Natural Sciences by Alessandro Alessandroni. An absolute work of genius. So there you go. Down to the final 2 now. Let's see if the memory card holds up. So the next one is an album that I bought maybe about a year ago, 14 months ago, something like that. And the English translation for the album title is The Police Cannot Shoot. Milan hates the police cannot shoot. Okay, that's what happens with translations anyway. So this is another Morricone. This is the second out of the 10. And again, I fell in love with this album. Cool cover. Yeah, really like that. Not a problem. Yeah, I'll show you the reverse as well. There you go. The album, let's see if I can, 1975 it was originally released in. So I bought this, and I'm going to be brutally honest with you, for 1 track and 1 track only. I'm going to leave the link for it down below. You might just say, you know what, you hyped that up and I don't think it's all that. I'm just going to have to say, well, I'm going to have to agree to disagree. And certainly for my collection, it fits in absolutely perfectly. It's a score of absolute genius. It's that crime, espionage, underpinnings to it. I just think of it, there's times when I'm going out and about with my earbuds in, and it's my theme tune. I'm strutting around the streets. I'm not doing a Saturday Night Fever walking, but a walk of purpose, because I'm listening to that track and it's just like that's what it's doing for me. You might not feel the same. Maybe it's just a me thing, and I have to accept that I might be that, that person who just reacts differently to things. But yeah, that 1 track, and I'm trying to, I think it's called Raptus Amicida, and I'm probably pronouncing it all wrong, but I believe that's the track that I fell in love with when I heard it. And literally, when I actually heard it, got it home, I played it maybe about 30 times in a row, because I couldn't get enough of it. I had to listen to it via my kind of like valve amp, then I had to listen to it for a THX type amp for like a super clean, and yeah, I was up for hours listening to it, and it's the same track over and over again, but every time I listened to it, I heard something different. And hopefully you might have the same experience as I did with it. If you don't, then okay. But I certainly just went absolute crazy for it. Right, we're down to the last one, and I'm surprised that the memory card, oh no, is it? Yeah, here's one left. I'm surprised that the memory card has lasted as long as it is, and me saying that, it'll probably do a hard stop now and go on to the, start another one. So the last one today is White Angels, Black Angels, and let's just see. Come on. I can see who wrote it. Da, 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 da. Oh, this is another Piero Umiliani composition. Yeah, he's definitely, in terms of my collection, he seems to have more spots than anybody else. Now on this one, again, I believe it, Eddie also may be on there, or there's certainly a couple of like fantastic female vocals on it. Oh, sorry, I didn't even show you the cover. How rude of me. So yeah, some kind of witches, coven, supernatural type thing going on. Never seen the film. With any one of these films, I think I've seen the Meta on the Sarah one. I've seen bits of it, but none of the others. Yeah, this is kind of like a witchcraft kind of, you know, sacrificing virgins to the altar of some, I don't know, whatever it is. And so with this one, absolutely, I bought it at the same time as the one called The Body, or Il Corpo. Yeah, it was like I just had one of those kind of stars in alignment, planets were aligned, where once I found one, I found that there was 2, 3, and then I kind of just gave my credit card a kiss and went, yeah, this is what you're there for. It's got to be done. You've got to pull the trigger. So on this album, there's a track on there called Sal. I would pronounce it Saudade, but I think they when they sing it Saudade, something like that. Again, I'd heard it like decades before on a compilation, fell in love with that track. Again, I will try and leave a link to it down below. I had to have it. I just had to. It's just one of those things, and all collectors, regardless of its music or, you know, Matchbox toys or full-size toys or motorbikes, whatever it is, there's sometimes you come across a product where you know you have to have that. Your life will be so much better for you having it, for you owning it. And yeah, we're not supposed to like really be materialistic. You can't take it with you. But meanwhile I'm alive, meanwhile I'm breathing, I want this in my collection. So pretty much I bought this for one track, and I didn't care how much it cost for the album. I had to have it. I think it turns out that I'd done better than what I thought, so I bought it for one track. I think there is one other track on there which I really like. All the rest of it is garbage in my opinion. I can't stand the rest of it. I skip past it quite easily. It doesn't resonate with me. But for the 2 tracks, and one in particular, I would have done anything to get my hands on them. So super glad to have it in my collection. It is high level vocal performance on here. Don't understand a word of what's being said, doesn't matter to me. It's how it resonates. It just, I feel it just, yeah, it just passing through me, and it's a positive experience. So just had to have it, just had to. So that was the final Italian soundtrack album for today. Let me just take a sip of my now cold coffee. Give me a second. Thank you very much for joining me on today's episode. I meandered all over the place. There was a structure, I just didn't follow it, and I forgot most of it as I was going along. That's to do with my excitement for what I was showing you. So GC, I hope that you appreciate this particular video. Hopefully it's different enough. You wanted me to go outside the normal jazz side of things. So yeah, this is jazz adjacent, so I don't stray too far, but hopefully you've enjoyed it. I've certainly enjoyed doing this video. I want to thank each and every one of you who have persisted with me. From my point of view, it's been an absolute pleasure. I hope in the next days and weeks, not only to read your feedback in the comment section, which is always welcome. Keep your puns going. And there's a couple of you who I really do enjoy when you make comments about my fashion taste. Usually on the negative side. I really do appreciate it. It just makes me laugh so much, and it's like, yeah, you gotta have a sense of humor about these things, you know. I'm a middle-aged man. I'm not cool. I'm just not. So I think I'm cool, but yeah, I'm not. That's just a fact. So keep your comments coming about the music, your own experiences, any suggestions in terms of you've seen some of my collection, and you've got albums yourselves which you think would fit in well with me. Please let me know. If you enjoyed the video, please let me know. If you thought it was absolute garbage and a waste of your time, again, please let me know. I'd rather know than not know. It won't necessarily stop me from doing these type of videos, but at least I'd know. So until the next episode, please look after yourselves, stay safe, and I will see you soon for another 10 albums in a particular genre. And again, I'm willing to hear your suggestions, but please bear in mind, I don't have all genres out there. I don't have any country music or something like that. I just don't own them. So if it's jazz and jazz related or jazz adjacent, I've got every chance of maybe being able to do it. But I don't really have British pop music or anything like that. I just don't have it. Nothing, not that there's anything wrong with it. You can buy and listen to what you want. I just don't own it. So until then, stay safe. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon. So until then, take care. Bye bye.